All right, let's jump right in. In the incredibly fast-paced world of real estate, what if I told you that one of the biggest threats to your profit isn't your competition? Nope, it's actually a silent leak happening right inside your own sales process. Today, we're going to break down how Wellstreak AI is tackling this multi-million-dollar problem. And get this, it's not with more tools, but with a fascinating concept they call revenue orchestration.
So, here's how we're going to walk through it. First, we'll uncover this silent revenue leak. Then, we'll see how Wellstreak plans to close the gap. After that, we'll check out their 30-day proof point, see how it all scales up to the enterprise level, and finally, we'll boil everything down to a really simple idea: the one booking ROI. Sound good? Let's go.
Okay, so first things first, we have to identify a problem that honestly many businesses might not even know they have. We're talking about a huge amount of lost revenue that's so hard to track because it's happening in the invisible spaces, the gaps in your workflow.
So let me just ask you this straight up. If you're in real estate, think about it. Where do nearly half of your leads actually go? I mean, you're spending a ton of money on ads, on portals to get those names, but so many of them just seem to poof, vanish into thin air. Where do they go?
Well, here's the shocking answer, and this is coming from industry studies. A staggering 25 to 40% of the leads you bring in are never properly followed up on. Now, this isn't just a small mistake. It's a massive, systemic leak. It's potential business just being left on the table.
And this problem has a name: the gap. You can think of it as the revenue leakage zone. See, the problem isn't your CRM or your WhatsApp or your ad platforms. It's the chaotic, messy space between all of them, where no single system is really in charge of the lead. The lead moves faster than your team can possibly react, and that causes delays, dropped conversations, and you guessed it, lost sales.
Okay, so if the big problem is this gap between your tools, how on earth do you fix it? Well, that brings us to our next section. And the answer here is a little counterintuitive. It's not about buying more software. It's about making everything you already have finally work together.
Now, I know what you're probably thinking, and it's the most common reaction. Hey, we already have a CRM. We've got automation tools. And you know what? That's a totally fair point. Most established real estate developers do.
But here's the big pivot, the key idea. The issue is never about the tools themselves. It's that they all operate in their own little silos. Your CRM doesn't instantly talk to WhatsApp. Your ad leads don't trigger an immediate, intelligent response. They're like disconnected islands, and that gap between them is where the leads are drowning. And this is where Wellstreak introduces their big idea, the revenue orchestration layer. Don't think of it as just another tool you have to manage. Instead, picture it like an intelligent layer that sits on top of everything you're already using, kind of like a conductor leading an orchestra.
So here's a super simple breakdown of how it works. A lead comes in from anywhere, ads, portals, you name it. But instead of just sitting in a queue, it hits the Wellstreak AI, the central brain, first. That brain then instantly decides the perfect next step and pushes the action out to your CRM, your sales team's WhatsApp, or your call center, all of it happening in seconds with no human delay.
And the results of this? Well, they're pretty powerful. We're talking about lead response times under 60 seconds, flat. We're talking about an AI that actually scores leads based on their intent. Relentless, automated follow-ups that can chase a lead for 30, 60, even 90 days. And maybe most importantly, it gives management real-time visibility into what's actually happening in the sales funnel.
Now that all sounds really good in theory, right? But how do you know if it'll actually work for your business with your team? That brings us to the next section, which is all about a low-risk way to find out, the 30-day proof point.
So this pilot program is basically a comprehensive test run, but on one of your own live projects. You get the whole shebang: the core integrations with WhatsApp and your CRM, the AI lead scoring, the automated workflows, and the crucial part, you get daily and weekly reports so you can see the impact with your own eyes. And the pricing for this pilot is really transparent. It's tiered based on the size of the developer, so it gives you a clear, fixed-cost way to test everything out before you even think about a bigger commitment.
So what about the big question? How do they guarantee a return on your investment? Well, their answer is really interesting. They say they don't promise sales. What they guarantee is discipline, speed, and visibility. The entire point of the pilot is to prove that a better, faster, more disciplined process will naturally lead to better outcomes.
Okay, so let's imagine the pilot is a huge success. The data is clear, your response times are way down, conversions are up. What's next?
Well, now we move on to our fourth section and see how this one project success can scale into full enterprise-wide automation.
So even before you jump to a massive enterprise rollout, there are these smaller, modular packages. They go from a simple starter automation for just capturing leads quickly, all the way up to a full-blown AI agent that can handle complex chats. It lets you scale things at a pace that makes sense for you.
And for the really big players, the path from a successful pilot to a full rollout is laid out very clearly. The pricing structure scales up logically from a regional plan for just a couple of projects to a multi-city plan, all the way up to a massive pan-India solution for those huge property portfolios. There's a clear path to growth.
And that brings us to our final section. And honestly, this might be the most critical argument of the whole thing. This is where all the tech and all the talk gets boiled down to some very simple, very powerful math.
You see this line again and again in their materials, and for good reason. This is the whole pitch, right here, in a single sentence. The entire financial argument hangs on this one idea. Can the system rescue just one extra sale each month from that 25 to 40% of leads that used to get lost in the gap?
And it's not just a nice saying. Here are the numbers to back it up. Based on a pretty conservative property value, that one single booking translates to somewhere between 1.6 to 2.5 lakhs in pure profit. Now, when you put that number next to the monthly fees we saw earlier, the ROI just clicks into place. It becomes crystal clear.
And that leads us to our final slide, which I think brilliantly flips the whole conversation around. After seeing the size of that revenue leak and the potential ROI, the question is no longer, what does this system cost? The real question is, what is the monthly cost of doing nothing? What does it cost you every single month to leave that gap wide open? A very powerful thought to end on.